Welcome to another St. Pete by Night production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, calling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless light, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warm forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hands. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Rock will never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is an online World of Darkness role-playing community originated in St. Petersburg, Florida, but now spread to the world at large. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. And it's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle set in the city of Tampa Bay, Florida. Even if we haven't been spending a lot of time there recently, where the Sept of the Evening Star attempts to combat the forces of the worm, both physical and spiritual. But there's not been a lot of worm combating either, if you really think about it. Like, it's been a lot of like Guru v. Guru stuff that's been going on, but I'm sure it's fine and that the worm will pop back up sometime at some place, and we'll get back to that eventually. But anyway, before we get into all that, go follow St. Pete by Night on all of that social media you see listed down below. And if you want to, you should join our community by following that Discord link where you can join over 100 other World of Darkness denizens who like to talk about all kinds of things, not just World of Darkness related. Like, there's other things out there to talk about, but you know, you can talk about World of Darkness too by joining the community. And also, if you really like what you see and you've been enjoying this program so far, you should go sign up for the Ko-fi, where for as low as $5 a month you can get access to all kinds of behind the scenes benefits, like early access and sneak peeks to things that are going to be debuting on the stream, as well as the Rosebud Thorns for all of our programs. It is definitely a value, and we are trying to make it worth your while, so go sign up for that today. But of course, I couldn't tell this story alone, even though a lot of people think so when they tune in. They see just me, or like me and one other person, and they're like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, just stick around and wait and you'll find out. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. It would take a pretty impressive and talented and good-looking cast of characters to make this story possible. So let's go ahead and introduce that cast now. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ Champagne, and as per requested by my crotch goblins who should be watching, kaboom! And I will be playing Aspen Wise, Violet Ducks of the Silver Fangs.
Hi, everybody. I am Nori, and I will be playing Jester Silvertongue, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey everyone, I'm Preston. I'm the prettiest girl at the party, and I play Jason Thorne, Theurge of the Bonar.
Howdy do, how are all of you? My name is Nick. I'll be playing Izzie, aka Entwined Smiles with Claws, the Alrune Child of Gaia. And it's been 50 years?
I'm going to guess that's like an Amazing Digital Circus reference or a Toy Story reference or one of many possibilities. But anyway, it is our season finale, ladies and gentlemen. This is our last episode before we go on a break for 2 weeks. And I'm sure it's going to be the tamest, most low-key, no big deal episode ever. So, if you need to take a little snoozy nappy nap or something while this is happening, you just go ahead and do it. No, it's not. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be awesome. So stay tuned, pay attention, and let's get everybody caught up as to where we are now. Last week, Aspen and Jester went on the Great Hunt in Vermont that was hosted by the North Country Protectorate. Of course, finding out information about the hunt was not as easy as it seemed as they approached Winter's Breath, the lupus-born within the sept, trying to poke and prod for answers. But like trying to poke and prod any lupus-born, they came away with only some, and probably not the ones they were exactly looking for. We also saw Jace and Izzie try to track down any leads they could about the biker gang, about the riots, about all of the goings on that were happening in the city of Tampa, which found them ending up at a trailer park just outside of the eastern side of Tampa, where they found a trailer that supposedly belonged to and was the last known address of Mr. Estevez, the biker that they have been hot on the trail of. But they found it empty and vacant. And while they tried to hatch a bunch of plans as to how they could find out more information, Jace remembered he was a Theurge and he could just go through the Umbra to get into the trailer instead of having to, break a window or, cause a huge commotion. Although there was shouting at one point, and that did kind of cause a commotion. So it's kind of like 6 of one, half dozen of another. But anyway, they got into the trailer. They saw that the trailer had undergone some recent renovations, and they saw the remnants of what looked like a glyph of rage, the glyph that they have been seeing at some of the sites of the riot. This caused them to look to the Umbra for more aid as they called out to the spirits, and they were approached by a lightning or electrical spirit known as AC, who was able to give them some background as to who had recently been living in the area. Of course, it would cost their cell phone batteries and Jace's motorcycle battery in order to achieve what they were hoping to do. He also offered to transport them to where they would need to go, to the last known location, the last time a call was placed by Mr. Estevez. And they got a lot more than they hoped for, as they were instantly disintegrated, turned into pure energy, and transported to the top of a cell phone tower in Oldsmar, which is just to the north of the edge of the Tampa Bay. And by on top of a cell phone tower, I quite literally mean on top of a cell phone tower. Going back to Aspen and Jester, the hunt was on, and as they tried to chase it down, they found out that they were coming upon a group of black bears that seemed to have wandered down from the mountain. Instead of attacking or hunting the black bears, Jester had decided to corral them away, pushing them off of the property instead of bringing them down. They then heard a howl break out, a howl of alarm that was clearly Charles, and as they went running over, they came upon a rather tense scene, to say the very least, where the other pack that had been on the hunt had found a Garal and had felled it. But they wanted Charles to take the killing blow, and Charles refused to do so, which very much upset the Sept, their hosts, and led to an even more tense confrontation later that evening. Going back to Izzie and Jace, they were on top of a cell phone tower and they had to climb down, but climbing is a lot harder for Guru than you would think, because Jace almost plummeted to his death, and if it wasn't for Izzie, he probably would have. Eventually, they got down to the ground level, but Izzie had found himself feeling a little bit more feral and laser focused than usual, as he had succumbed to his bestial instincts to a certain degree. But that didn't stop them from hunting down a nearby riot in progress that they had spotted from the top of the cell phone tower. As they got there, they saw a completely chaotic scene breaking out, and Jason had ordered Isidoro to break it up to try and protect this security guard who seemed to have been downed and was getting, well, slowly beaten to death. Isidoro did that in Krynos by killing someone and causing the others to flee from delirium, which was absolutely perfect as Jason tried to stalk up on the motorcycle member, Mr. Estevez, who they'd previously found out had apparently become a guru in the intervening years. And just before he could get the jump on him, Estevez noticed him and drove away, leaving just a chaotic mess of a scene. Jason and Isadora were able to dispose of the body that Izzie had torn quite literally in half. But this does leave some lingering issues and questions that may need to be dealt with. While the crime scene in the immediate was dealt with, there could still be problems as people with, the delirium kind of do hazily remember something crazy happening, even if they can't put details to it. And there were a lot of people there. So there are a lot of stories that could be told. But that's an issue for maybe when Aspen gets back. Who knows? Returning back to Vermont, Charles was kicked out of the Silver Fangs by Anastasia and King Jonas Albrecht, having been deemed a shame to the tribe and to the throne, and he was stripped of all rights as heir and all rights as a Silver Fang. And with Falcon's approval, his tribe was stripped from him, leaving him what is known as a forsworn or a Ronin in those who know the world of darkness. Needless to say, Aspen and Jester didn't like this and had some choice words for Anastasia and the king. But with Falcon saying so, with the king saying so, there was very little left to be said or argued against. And so with that, our story begins back at Vermont, where the pack that has arrived in the state tries to console Charles after everything that happened, as well as plan what comes next. This has been quite a trip, Aspen and Jester, to say the very least. It's been filled with political intrigue, who's sided with who's responsible for this political state of things, with the king being basically useless, although he seemed anything but useless last night after he made the declaration that Charles would be removed, which brings to mind some questions. Where did he get that fire from? How did he get that intensity or desire to make such an act happen? Considering he is in one of the deepest states of Hirano any guru could possibly be in. Well, all of that is circling in your mind. There's also your packmate, the warder of your sept, the former Silver Fang, Charles Albrecht, who in the process of being stripped of his tribe seemed to be stripped of a certain amount of his life force as his previous platinum hair grew dull. His eyes went from a brilliant blue to an almost steely blue-gray. And his skin just seemed to be drawn from all sense of warmth or life in that moment. But as he said in his final words before stepping out of the cairn proper, I don't regret it. So this is where our scene begins, with the four of you gathered together in most likely Jester's room or one of your rooms. Charles having spent a good majority of the morning packing up his childhood room, which is no longer his, as he is considered no longer an Albrecht. and the scene is yours. I would ask, though, what is going through your minds going into this scene after the events of the previous evening? Aspen, we'll start with you.
Aspen is currently in the room, pacing, not finding any comfort in sitting. She despises this place. It is everything that she fights against, pushes against, this weird tyrannical power, this weird fighting against one another, not coming together. There's no unity. Everything that she thought that being a guru should be about is the antithesis here. And the fact that they could do something so easily, disregard Charles in that moment just for showing mercy, is not people that she wants to be associated with. And so the Silver Fang idea is just diminished in her mind, and she just wants to get her pack back safe at home where it actually means something.
Not to mention with Falcon of supposedly being present for this and giving his blessing, the whole reason this mess came up in the first place is because of a prophecy that Falcon had passed down, a prophecy that was to determine the fate of Charles Albrecht, a prophecy that seems all but nullified at this point due to the fact that he has no claim to the throne, he has no challenge, he is no heir. Jester, before we get into your inner thoughts, let's talk about Hirano. Now, Charles is a touchstone of yours, and I think we can all agree he is significantly damaged by these actions, being stripped of tribe and title and legacy. So that is going to come to the tune of 1 stain against Hirano, as he was not destroyed and it was not by your actions. So I need you to roll however many full points of Hirano you have to see if you will gain another or if you will be able to come to terms with all of this. So it's 1 die.
I got a success.
Okay. Your anger overrides any kind of depression in this moment, as both you and Aspen are sitting at a rage 4, considering all of the mounting events of the past several weeks, having been here way longer than you ever wanted to, having watched a Garal almost destroyed if it wasn't for Charles and your pack's actions, having watched this political intrigue unfold seemingly for nothing, as Charles has no stake to the throne anymore, and it seems like Mari is now on a fast track to taking over for Jonas Albrecht, should and when he dies. So you are cleared of gaining another point of Hirano, but let's hear your inner thoughts on this whole ordeal.
I am also pissed, very pissed. What was the point of it all? Of even coming up here at this point, especially when they were like, "Oh, it's a big emergency. We need to put someone on the throne now." But if they're putting Mari on, she's way too young, and I'm worried for that. And that whole, just the whole backstabbing political bullshit that has happened these entire few weeks is reminding me of how Ravenclaw used to talk about Silverfangs, and now I see what she means by them. Because if they are anything like the people in this court, her anger's kind of justified. At the same time, something is bugging me about the conversation with the king and how fast Anastasia was able to bring him out when Aspen called for him. Like it was staged.
There are a lot of hanging answers in the air, and there's also this opposing viewpoint Because on one hand, you have the North Country Protectorate, which is made up of varying individuals with varying opinions, some that you've met that you might find to be a little bit more reasonable, others that are clearly not. But you also have Aspen, who is not anything like these people, and Matthias, who has proven to be useful, if not a little bit haughty at times, although now finding out that he's possessed by a worm spirit doesn't really help things all that much. But it's hard to say for sure. Is it all Silver Fangs? Or is it just this group who seems to have been toiling within this situation for decades now, trying to come up with some sort of solution after having lost everything that made them great over the past 30 so years? So with these thoughts, Artie speaks up. So what now?
We,
Want everybody pitching at once.
we've finished whatever we have to do to make niceties and we go home. This is a lost cause. There's nothing left to do here.
Do you really believe that? It wasn't good what happened. But in a way, this is a perfect example of the uphill fight we have ahead of us if we're trying to do anything with the Guru at all, let alone the nation. There's a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, a lot of frustration. And yeah, we're starting at the top, but is it really the top? Because it seems like it's the bottom. And we're going to be working our way up. If we're frustrated with the games the Silver Fangs played, what about when we get to Colorado, where they have justified anger towards us? And they're not going to do it with a smile on their face.
They also don't want to listen. They don't want to listen to reason. They don't want to listen to a different idea. They don't listen. And we don't have enough people pushing against that yet. So we could scream into the void, but that's all we're doing.
Maybe. I still think we might be able to help the king. Possibly. He said something that's been kind of bothering me. He said, since none of this matters, I put my name behind this and I made the decision. If nothing matters, why did he go through even more effort to even make a decision to strip Charles? I think he was coerced in some way.
Yeah, he's not the one in charge here.
Maybe we could make him back in charge.
Maybe.
At least it might save that girl.
I'm going to ask a question, and I know it's going to be a question that might get me hit or sleeping on the couch or something like that, depending on how it goes. What were we trying to convince them of, other than that they were wrong? Every conversation that was had asked, what do you want to do instead? And up until the meeting with Elias, no ideas were really given other than this isn't working. You all are crazy. This is bad. Of course, they're going to be insulted. This is all they know.
We gave options. We talked about a council, immediately shut down. We tried to talk around because you can't just directly tell people exactly what you want if they're not even really willing to listen to what's wrong. That's the thing, is you can't explain how things can be better when they don't think something's wrong. And we try to talk about a council. We try to talk about therapy. It's deaf ears.
But also the people you tried to talk to were a little girl who's supposed to inherit the throne and Elias at Ghislaine. Did you try telling that to the actual guru themselves?
They didn't want to listen.
I'm
They
not
don't
disagreeing.
think anything is wrong. You can't tell somebody how to fix something when they don't think something's wrong. There are a couple, yes, but they're not the ones pulling the strings here.
No. But also, if you're talking about a council, that means majority vote. Don't convince the ones who are pulling the strings, convince everybody else, because what strings will they have to pull? I hear you, and I'm not trying to stoke this fire worse than it already is, but I feel like we haven't exactly taken the most advantage of the opportunity we've had here. There's been a lot of worrying about Charles. There's been a lot of frustration, rightfully so. But also, Aspen, you're a professional arguer. It's your job to convince people they're wrong. And I feel like you've been more stressed out about the Silver Fang of it all than you've been focused on the Guru Nation mission. That's just me being honest. You know, I'll support you in anything you do, but that's the vibe I've gotten since you got here, is that you've seen the Falcon everywhere and you were mad coming in.
You have been angrier than usual.
Haven't we all?
Absolutely.
I mean, yes. But for me, it's normal. For you, it's not normal. Even in, like, I've seen situations you've been in that are similar, that you've been angry, but you've been able to not let your anger cloud some of your judgment. Like with Bateman, for instance.
All I'm saying is we have one. We're going to be leaving no matter what, right? That's the plan. We're going to head out. We have technically no more business here, but we do have one more card to play, and I don't see why we don't play it. We have an audience with the king. And what happened last night was not an audience. I think anybody would agree to that, and we could challenge them if they tried to claim it was. But if we don't make at least one final plea, one final attempt to get through, then we're giving up. We are officially giving up on trying to change their minds, and that's a choice, but it's not setting a good standard for where we're going from here. When we encounter enough resistance, we're going to quit, because there's going to be worse resistance than this in my mind. These are the put together Guru. We're not talking about the feral red talons. We're not talking about the Black Furies who hate the idea of any kind of anyone in charge, even a council I'm sure they'll rebel against. This is literally the lowest rung on the ladder we're going to climb, even though it claims to be the highest. They've fallen so far that, yeah, changing their minds probably won't change much. But also, if we can't get them, who can we get?
I'm not saying it's impossible. And yeah, I am a professional arguer, but the thing about arguing in that case is that it's fair. And this isn't how it's working here. There's no jury of unbiased people waiting to hear a different opinion. It's literally people who have already made up their minds. But I'm open to it. It's worth a shot. They have to be willing to give us the opportunity.
I told you I would follow you wherever you went, and I mean that. So if you say we go, we go. You are my leader. I trust your judgment. But I'm going to ask this. Do you trust your own judgment right now?
No.
Nobody blames you for being in the position you're in. This is a betrayal of everything you've been taught, everything you've known, not to mention all of the things happening at home that you were completely out of control of.
I take
Nobody
that.
blames you.
She'll look over to Jester. What do you want to do?
It's crazy. But when I told King Albrecht that Mari would be disappointed in him, he said, I'm no Mari, but I could be. For a very short period of time. And if I can get him angry, maybe I can get him to take that tear. And then maybe we could tell him to, like, open up somebody taking the throne to beyond the people in this cairn and tribe. I'll look to Charles and maybe we can get him to realize that he was manipulated into stripping his grandson of his tribe.
That goes to my next question. Charles, what do you want to do?
You have been telling me all along that I wouldn't be enough to change it, that I'd be manipulated, that I'd be just a cog in the wheel. And after seeing everything that's happened, I'm not entirely sure you're wrong. In fact, if anything, it's reinforced to me that you are probably right. Falcon doesn't want me. Say what you will about Jonas, say what you will about Anastasia. It wasn't their call. Falcon has cast me out. And while it is one of the biggest shames I've ever suffered, I don't regret it. I would have made the same decision again, even knowing the outcome. Because that's the old world. That's the world that got us here. They just wanted more of the same. And they were going to continue to want more of the same, no matter who sat in that chair.
But, like, doesn't stripping you of your tribe, like, ruin Falcon's whole big prophecy that he wanted to happen?
Maybe that was only part of it. Maybe he didn't say the unspoken part that I would try and I would fall.
But you didn't challenge your grandfather. You didn't challenge him.
I was going to. Seeing the state of affairs here, seeing how everything had turned out, seeing the Sisyphean struggle we were all having, it seemed like the only option. And as I had made that decision, as I had become certain about it, that was when the hunt began.
And to ragabash this situation a little bit, because I've learned it from the best, what happened to sometimes we have to watch something fall apart. Sometimes things just need to die.
I'm not saying you're not right. It is dying. In fact, it's probably already dead. I am not an Albrecht anymore. I am not a Silverfang anymore. I have no place here anymore. I see the wisdom in what Artie has to say, and I agree. Take advantage of the opportunity you have, because you might not get it again. But I am ready to leave. There is work to be done, and we've wasted far too much time already.
Okay, well, it seems... Oh, goodness. Okay. She'll look at Artie and Jester, look over to Charles, knowing that she agrees more with Charles. But that's the point of all of this, is listening to everyone, making sure everyone has a voice. So she'll look over to Jester and Artie. If we do this one last shot, this audience, what are we hoping to get out of it?
I think Jester has a good point. Maybe this is our last chance to try and bring some semblance of awareness or stability or consciousness to this sept. And if the two of you can't do it, nobody can. Because I doubt there are two more driven and convincing and truly dedicated individuals in the nation, old or new. You actually will believe and hope that there can be an outcome to this war that isn't just utter destruction. And you actually care about the members of the Guru Nation, even if they aren't on our side of things. Who else can say that? Who else even has a remote chance of changing any minds, let alone redeeming an individual? You've done it once. Maybe you can do it again. And if not, you can hold your head up high and say you tried. And whatever happens, happens at that point. But if you leave now, I believe you will live to regret it. That you didn't take every shot you could at this. And I believe if we leave, we'll be at war. Officially.
How bad would that be for us? Look to Charles.
Worse than it seems. Right now, you'd think it'd be just us versus this sept. But one thing that always bands the nation together is battle. And if Anastasia and Seraphine, who seem to have shown their true colors,
And Victor. Hail.
if they can convince others of the righteousness of this cause, of the fact that we are heretics or no better than the cult of Fenris, I think we may have more to deal with than we know. It's the North Country Protectorate isn't just that sept. It stretches all the way up to New York. And there are pacts and septs still within that area that I have no doubt will pledge their loyalty to the throne, especially if it means recognition or help with whatever they're dealing with.
We should try. Look to Aspen. And even if we can't convince the king, maybe we convince some of the others. Brother Varga, Samira.
She looks at the floor and looks back up at Jester. On one condition.
What's that?
We leave it all out there. We say exactly how we feel. No politics, no fancy words. You have free reign.
Okay.
I will not be able to accompany you with this. I am an outcast and therefore have no place within the cairn or in the audience of the king. But I will be ready and waiting should anything happen or should we decide to leave.
Why wouldn't you be there?
Because in their minds, I am not Guru anymore.
In their minds, either is Eliza. In their minds are so many of the spirits, the ones who can't be here, whether they say it's because they don't want to or they can't. There's many Guru that they don't see as Guru anymore. Isn't that the point of what we're doing? Just to show them.
It's the point of what
Regardless.
you're doing, yes. But they will not open their minds or their mouths as long as I am in the room. That is guaranteed failure.
So dumb.
There's a reason the constellation went the way it did.
Seems like more hypocrisy, but I get it.
I can continue to make preparations for our departure. I can see if I can potentially convince Iron Oath to come with us. He was the only one who stood beside me, truly.
But do you think he'd leave the king?
After everything that's occurred, I'm not sure he views him as a king anymore. But I can't say for certain. He believes me to be the king.
Okay.
I'm sorry for dragging you all into this mess, for asking you to be patient during this process. I could have arrived and immediately refused, but it was too difficult.
Nobody blames you, Charles.
No.
Don't say nobody.
I'll look over at Artie.
Artie just holds his hands up and shakes his head like, not me.
How about nobody in this room blames you? And we'll start with that.
Don't say nobody.
Stop blaming yourself then. It's
Stop being a rebel, Jester. I think you'll make as much headway that direction too, at this moment.
Are you a martyr?
I was willing to be.
I think that shows more on the virtues of your personality and yourself than it does on faulting you for it. You were trying to give people you cared about a chance. You were trying to give us and what was left of the old nation a chance.
Are you okay?
I will be. They may not call me an Albrecht anymore, but this is still the only family I have, or had, for a long time. Luckily, I have another family to go home to. But it still stings.
I'll reach over and give him a hug.
My guess is worst case scenario. They're going to listen to you, they're going to laugh at you, and they're going to send you out. But at least you can say you tried. Artie's not wrong about that.
Okay, then we try. We try our damnedest. Look over at Jester. Yep, for one more tag team before we get home.
Absolutely.
So as you prepare yourselves for your official and formal audience with the king, we now find ourselves back in Tampa as two other members of the Sept deal with an unfortunate turn of events in their investigations and in their hopes to put a stop to the riots in the city. Jason and Izzie, it's been probably about 12, maybe 18 hours since the events of what happened at the shopping complex in Oldsmar. You've had some time to think, to assess, to settle, but also to receive some very, very bad news from Vermont. Well, it depends on how you view it. Bad for some, good for you, because it likely means they're coming home soon. But they're coming home most certainly worse for wear than when they left. The cairn has been quiet, but it's been undoubtedly secure. Not just because of the efforts of Turtle, who has fortified the cairn more than ever, but of all the Guru that remain. The Hellhounds have come by for regular patrols. Izzie's been staying there. Dakes has been, for the most part, staying there to stay away from the Fenris menace and the uncontrollable desire to cause them pain. But how long can that really last? The city is burning. Slowly. But as has been said, it only takes a spark. And there have been multiple sparks in these riots, and it seems, from the information you've gathered, there is Guru involvement. But what does that mean? Are they a tribe? What tribe are they? Are they associated with Fenris? Are they a lone operator? haven't heard anything about them working with other guru. What are they trying to accomplish? And on top of that, are you even fit to deal with it? Your last investigation, while it yielded some information, may have done more harm than good to your efforts here. And it doesn't necessarily have to be external harm, but internal harm as well. As Isidoro has fallen further into Hoglosk and is one step away from completely transitioning over. Can you even put him at risk anymore? But also, what other choice do you have? These are the thoughts. These are the hurdles. And this is the discussion. The scene is yours.
A point of clarification. Izzie still has lost the wolf? Question mark.
You could have regained it. I don't think you howled at the moon the previous night, so you could have howled if you wanted to. But if you don't think he would have, then no.
I believe I did howl during the riot.
Then no. Yeah, your wolf has not returned, as it is still daytime the next day and the moon has not risen yet again.
Okay. And that affects regeneration? However,
Yes.
It does not affect willpower regaining? No. Okay. Just
Yep.
bookkeeping.
It's literally physical. You can't use any gifts. You can't use any rights. But you can, your willpower still comes back with time.
Okay. To bring it back to the scene. Izzie looks like shit. Just plain and simple. He's bruised. Even after being cleaned up and returning to the cairn and then cleaning again, he is just covered from basically head to toe with all the various blunt instruments that he was pummeled with and fists, bits of lip cracked, swollen eye, the whole 9 yards. And as he patrols around, he's not even really looking. He's just moping at this point as he is engaged in that internal dialogue of, I just needed to do more. I needed to have done something better. And the reason it turned out the way it was because I was not strong enough or in control enough to help Jason.
Jace, he left the cairn that night. He needed to clear his head. He got a ride back home. His bike being there. He sits and stews for the remaining 12 hours before getting back onto his bike and riding back out towards the cairn. Once he parks it, he slowly walks, not wanting to have to rehash everything that just happened, but the fact that it happened in front of so many people and the position that both of them are in currently, a conversation has to be had. As he gets to the table, he takes a seat and just holds his head, waiting and listening for when Isidoro comes up.
I will say, having called upon the assistance of the bikers, they were able to retrieve your bike, replace the battery, and it should be as it was before. But continue.
Isidoro does indeed seem to be absent from the heart of the cairn for a bit longer than expectations might dictate. Yet, at some point, he does scuttle in, one languid footfall after the other as he spies Jason brooding at the central table. He puts his smile on even if he feels the pain flare up on his face. Both the embarrassment and the wounds reopening. before he lumbers and collapses into one of the chairs and speaks a simple question. So what's the punishment?
We'll get to that. Tell me something, Izzie. First, bit rude. How are you holding up?
He just has the most languid glare. You see a bit of tear well up in his eye, expecting much harsher words than "how are you?" And in that moment, he thinks back to the worst parts of his journey to Tampa and how the people he met, even at his darkest moments, managed to poke at that ego, that need to help, as he goes, "Not good, man. Not good. You didn't happen to find out the guy's name that I killed, right?"
No.
Fuck.
What I did manage to sit and stew with. How many people saw you, Izzie?
I don't remember.
10? Maybe 20? 50 even? Enough?
Too many.
Izzie, if we were in any other situation, we were in a back alley, out in an open field, and you killed someone, it'd be a lot easier to brush off. But it wasn't even the fact that you killed someone. You ripped someone in half in front of a rioting crowd. A huge one.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they didn't see necessarily you. They didn't see someone defending Gaia. They didn't see an Arun of the Guru. They saw a fucking monster. You know what that puts us in position of? You know how many eyes are looking at us because of what's going on in Vermont? Trying to set an example here. How many threats we have. And now I got an Arun who's ripping people in half. I spent the last 12 hours. I wasn't mourning for who died. I wasn't even celebrating that we made it out of there somehow. I was trying to count how many witnesses we had. Were there cameras? Did people happen to see us? Which spirits were there? Saw this. The work that's been done to try and mend that bond alone. To try and get those bridges remended. And how many lives we're going to have to try and tell to cover this up. And I'm not talking about with Aspen. She knows. With the person that you killed and everyone that saw you. How many lies are we going to have to tell?
Izzie is just quiet.
The thing that stings the most about this is when you reacted the way that you did. You didn't do it alone. That brand that's there, the veil being broken, it's not just on you, it's on me. That action affected both of us. Because every person there didn't just see an Arun fail. I failed as well. When we go out on jobs, especially when it's just you and I have one person I can trust. One. And it's you. And the worst part is I knew you were getting angry. I knew that you had something going on. But I told myself he can handle it. He'll hold it down. He won't give in. That's not him. And I was wrong. The crowd that saw what happened, those who are watching, and those who are going to hear about this aren't just seeing our sept. They're seeing where we came from, the journey of us, everything we have as a history, everything we are and what we stand for. The last two remaining people of the Echoing Roots, one of them just can't hold it together. What would they say if this happened? The pack that you led, what would they say? Oh, Isidore can't do it. He can't hold it down. Don't trust him. I have fragments of trust still there. That's the thing that sucks. I want to trust you because I know that you're better than this. And what happened? For the amount of this being your fuck up, it's on me. I should have pulled you back. I shouldn't have had that much trust. I just hope when a situation like this comes up, and I hope it's not for a very long time, that you'll have the gall to say, I can't handle this. We need to back off.
I agree. After we reappeared atop the cell phone tower, I thought maybe, I don't know what happened. That defensiveness, that solitude took over instinct, and I should have recognized it, even with you there with me. And so when you said, go clear out those people, I didn't even think about the capacity that I could fail. That I was made for this. I had the title and everything, and when it didn't work out, I relied on old reliable. And you're right that my failure reflects poorly on you. And of the two, I don't know what's worse, that I killed some poor idiot or I hurt you. But there is a way to at least have you save some face. You're old nation enough to know what that might include.
Izzie, I believed in you wholeheartedly. I was willing to even bet lives on it. I bet the sept on it. And you're right, there is ways. But we're not old nation. We're trying to do something different here. The fact is, a man is dead. The veil is weaker because of your actions. The sept is going to have to pay for this. As far as your punishment goes, I'm not sure of one at this time. Old Nation has its ways. If I act in Old Nation now, while they're trying to get things figured out up there, How does that look upon us? We already have the issues that we have going on. A punishment I'm going to have you do is you're going to have to sit with this until Aspen gets back and dwell on whatever punishment she deems fit.
I think I'll be doing that anyways.
I'm sure you will.
But I don't think that's an adequate enough punishment, Jason. Especially if, as a former leader of a pack, there are times when you need to delegate. But if you are in a position, there are times you need to act. And I say this as the Arun. And with that, Izzie will just look up to the arches of the central cairn space and glance over at the ceremonial clave.
He'll follow his gaze over to it.
I'm sorry I have to make you do this.
Everyone has freedom of choice.
Save yourself, man. Save your reputation. Don't let your first mantle of leadership be that you went easy on a friend, because it's going to be so much worse. It's going to be so much worse if you just keep doing stuff like that. And I'm good for it. Not that I really have a say, but I'm good for it.
Izzie, look at you. Are you in a position? Look at your body. If you want me to act and do this, I won't be sentencing you a punishment.
Whatever you think is best. I gave my piece.
Jace will stare at him for a while. And then back at the clave. Kent, am I able to, in his current state, to provide Mother's Touch to him, to give him a little bit?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
It works on any living thing that needs healing. Like, it's just used for Guru because, you know, those are the first line of defense. But yeah, it can work on anyone.
Okay. He'll push himself up from the table, look at the clave and at Izzie, and then walk over to it, grab onto it, and then walk over to the table and set it down. And then walk over to Izzie, standing behind him, and place his hand on his back and attempt to give him a little bit of wiggle room.
So your difficulty is 0. So basically you can roll to see how many superficial he can heal, or he can just heal an ag.
I currently have 2 ag and 4 superficial.
Okay,
It's
so-
my whole health track.
Well, I will say you healed your stamina worth of superficial. Superficial still heals over time, even without regeneration. Yeah.
Okay. All right, then cancel that. I got 3 open. I'm good for it, Coach.
Rage level.
Right now, definitely a 3 still. You're still feeling it. Situation hasn't been resolved. You're just not in it directly anymore.
That's fair. It's 4 with a crit.
So I will say, because of the crit, you are able to heal both ag.
Down to 1 super.
As you feel the warmth of the touch of Jace on you, you feel those open sores and wounds and bruises start to fade away. The warmth is comforting, but right now, more than anything, it's just numbing. Because you're in so much emotional pain that it can sometimes override physical pain. Jace, as you are placing your hand upon Izzie, the sword sat upon the table. You see a glimmer kind of reflect off of the sword. And you hear a voice that only you can hear, but Izzie cannot.
The worst punishment he can achieve is having to work through it himself. Is guilt is punishment enough? To kill him would be to give him the easy way out. You can see that he's hurting. You can see that it is almost unbearable for him, the shame that he feels. So is it a mercy? Or an escape?
And the voice fades.
Jace will, while standing behind him, smile and nod, hearing that, then pull his hand away. Isidoro Darius, Twine smiled with claws. I'm going to need you to kneel in the dirt.
He does not even make a whimper. He just slides out of the chair and slinks down.
The words Star said resonating in Jace's mind as he reaches for the clave. I, Jason Thorne, acting sept leader. You will then walk behind him. Sentence your punishment. He then grabs the sword and lifts it up and slams it next to his face into the dirt. You will live with this. Just know that my actions here were dictated by someone who cares and sees something in you. You will wear this, you will sit with it. You will remember the person that you tore apart. He'll then pull the clave out, wiping the dirt off on his jacket. Go and put it back in its ceremonial place. Take his seat. Now, Izzie, we have a few things we have to discuss.
Izzie is shaken. Yet, as his psyche is reeling, a bit of his brain goes into instinct mode as he just sort of shakes rising to his feet. Yeah, what?
Our dear friends in Vermont. Some things have transpired recently. They also had a pretty rough night.
Fuck.
Some would argue in a way worse than ours.
I find that hard to believe.
Charles will not be coming back the same way that he was.
What? What does that mean?
And Kent, for clarification, we're completely up to date. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Falcon, his former patron, denounced him. Jonas kicked him out of the Silverfangs.
Izzie's eyes wander, no longer cast in the shroud of his own problems. He's now entirely focused on one of his touchstones, as he thinks that it's not been that relatively long since he found out that Charles, longtime acquaintance, pack leader, was a child of destiny. And now that is apparently gone? Question mark. And he is just confused. Not even really angry in the moment, just like does not know how to process in the moment, as he furrows his brow and looks to Jason with the first real backbone he's had since probably before the mission. What the fuck does that... What? How?
I wish I were there to see what was going on. There's... From what Aspen says, there's people there that are working deep within the shadows of that place and have worked their way up into a very high seat of power. And are able to bring this determination, this choice, I guess, if that's how they want to phrase it, for Charles to be denounced of all claims. Because he showed mercy. Because he didn't want to... He saw a threat that was neutralized. They had a Garal issue up there. Apparently, there's a few of them, and not just the one that we're dealing with. But he didn't want to kill this thing. Like I said, it was taken care of. But he chose not to end it. And because of that, they ended his overall line. I don't know how he is dealing. I'm not sure. I can imagine how Charles will be when he gets back, just from knowing him, but I'm not... He's not going to be the same person that when he left.
Izzie, you may not have known of his lineage, his heritage, his legacy. The one thing that is undeniable about the Charles you knew and the Charles you know, it was undoubtedly Silverfang.
Yeah.
It was a defining quality of who he was. Some could say he was a paragon of the Silverfangs. even more so coming from one of the greatest of them all, Jonas Albrecht. To not be that anymore. What would that mean for somebody who took such pride, such honor, and so much of their identity from that, to just have it taken away? Now, spirits have the ability to enact chagrin. And usually that takes the form of removal of renown temporarily, much like the rite of shame, sometimes permanently. Sometimes it's just losing access to certain gifts or rights. But to strip a tribe? To completely remove them with seemingly no chance of chiminage? That is almost entirely unheard of. That is probably one of the worst offenses one could take.
I think Izzie, as he realizes that, especially the stripping of the tribe part, he remembers his own journey to being an Arun, especially early on, right after his first change, where he was basically lambasted, beaten, berated for not adhering to that, warrior mentality, the impulse to violence. And so seeing as far as he could tell, and especially in his heart, well-respected, highly veteran Garu, to have a single act of mercy be the foundation for this entire thing fills him with a rage that is the best he can achieve while not having the wolf.
Roll me a D10, just one.
A 1.
Okay. I will say you do not regain a point of rage in this instance, but you are right. The most rage one could achieve without having the wolf, I think, is an apt description.
Izzie's eyes, as much as they can force the burning to reenact, just still perpetually lost and misty from his previous punishment, stares Jason directly in the face and goes, "Do we know the names of the people who did this?"
Someone named Anastasia, and then there was, can't help me with the other two.
There was Victor Hale, and there was Seraphine DeLuc. But it was primarily Anastasia and the King.
Or another person, Seraphine, and then a Victor Hale. But Anastasia is the one that seems to be at the head of this. And such sway that she has. The way that Aspen described is she almost like this power that sits within her, unrebelled. She has an understanding of that place. Like I said, I wish I was there to see it, to try and understand it further.
Izzie retreats into himself again. A lot of his recent punishments put into the perspective of, yes, it's his problem, but he needs to step up in some way to be ready for when Charles, and by extension the nation, need him. as he snorts. Jason, I don't know if there's anything else you wish to discuss.
That's pretty much the long and skinny of everything.
I don't want to labor this any more than I already have. But you're a good leader. And I wish you had better Garu.
I have some of the best.
You'll have to meet them first.
That self-doubt, that stuff will eat you. Careful of that. And that's coming from the Theurge, not so much the Sept leader.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't mind, I would like to go and think of how I'm gonna support the others when they come back, because they are gonna need it much more than I will need dithering and comfort, I think. And Izzie at this point is trying to put on the strongest face he can, with not great success, I would imagine.
Jace will look at him in the most old nation way he can, and to give you some comfort, you are dismissed.
He gives a nod. Freshly healed, he walks out, no longer lumbering or practically crawling, but the wound in his heart is still mighty wide.
And with that, we transition to our next scene. Night has fallen. You've packed up most of your belongings, preparing for your exit. But call upon the court as Artie cashes in the incredible honor, although that feels like it comes with quotations now, of being able to have an audience with King Jonas Albrecht, the last Gaian king. As you are eventually called forth, Elias comes to your room and says, King, we'll see you now.
Elias, could you do me a favor?
Of course.
I need some books.
All right. What books do you need?
Ones of King Albrecht, of the Silver Crown, and of the Last Battle, if you wouldn't mind.
As you say, I'll make sure they're brought to the antechamber.
Thank you.
He at first leads you to a room that you have yet to have visited this entire time on your stay. And you've been able to explore quite a bit aside from the various bedrooms. You're taken up to the third floor of the house, where you've stayed on the second, and most of the activity has taken place on the first. As you enter in to the room, it is drab, to say the very least. Like, the curtains haven't been opened in a long time, and many of the surfaces haven't been dusted. And while it is not the throne that the king is sitting, is a strong word, kind of hunched on, it is a antique looking chair. However, the king is not alone. Why would he be? As on one side of him stands Seraphine DeLuc, On the other stands Anastasia Volkova. And on a chair just slightly off to the side sits Mari Albrecht. Though she seems to be there more in an observing capacity than anything else. Standing by the door as sentinel is Victor Hale. Ready should anything untoward happen. The king looks anything but stately. His back is hunched, his clothes almost clinging to a skeletal frame. He's still a big man, but the way he wears it is almost so pathetic it makes him seem small. Long, stringy gray hair frames his face, a stubble surrounding his chin, as if he hasn't shaved in a few days, but still is shaved every now and then. A large black eye patch covering one eye. His eyes don't rise to meet you. They just seem downcast at his feet. No, the first one to greet you is in fact Seraphine DeLuc. Your Highness, may I present Aspen Oathbreaker, Jester Silvertongue, and Arthur Garfield from the Sept of Tampa, the Sept of the Evening Star. The king murmurs in a voice that is almost barely audible in this room. Like it's just utterances coming in response. And it is Anastasia that says, "The king welcomes you and wonders what it is you would have of him."
Conversation, if it pleases him.
She leans over closer to him, murmurs softly in his ear. Despite his downcast gaze, he just raises a hand as in, go on, whatever. But it's like a limp-wristed, just kind of flick in your direction.
So looking around the room, is all of the sept here?
No. This is a private audience. It is not a public court affair.
Then she will look to the king, side-eyeing Anastasia. Would it be possible to have all of the sept here?
Seraphine actually answers, unfortunately, no. There are duties that need tending to, and with the recent incursion upon the Sept's territory, patrols have been increased. And therefore, this matter is not needing a full audience.
I do think it would be beneficial to the sept as a whole for all of them to be here in these moments, given the situation that came just the night before.
Anastasia responds, "Miss Oathbreaker, with all due regard, what you think is best isn't what's at stake here. Your agreement was for an audience with the king, not with the sept.
I think it would be at least important to have your truth catcher here but I think all should be here. This is a large occasion. We will be leaving you soon, so there shouldn't be much of an issue if we could all be together, don't you think?
One last statement before you go. You didn't say everything you needed to say last night?
No.
She leans down to the king, and the first audible word he says is, no. Say your piece and leave.
You just gonna let her manipulate you like that? King Albrecht? Seems like it's her words coming out of your mouth. She tell you how to wipe your ass too?
You would insult me in my own home.
What are you gonna do about it? Sit on here and sit on your chair and cry? Not even sitting on your throne. She gets to sit on that, doesn't she? Unless she calls you out like a little, like, actor to be called out from stage left, like last time. All ready and propped up, carried by Elias, just to do her bidding.
You hear a very raspy chortle come out of his throat. Better Black Furies than you have tried to get me. I wouldn't debase myself with your pathetic insults.
Once upon a time, there was one you respected. But I guess that respect of Black Furies left when she died, didn't it?
What have the Black Furies done but run?
Well, at the moment, they're fighting Indron, you know, one of those Pentax subsidiaries. Pentax, who's actively ensuring that the worm wins. Yeah, they've been fighting them in Colorado with no help.
Seraphine kind of steps up a little bit. I would ask you to show some decorum.
Why? You've shown us no decorum.
I don't think that's a fair assessment. You have been granted home, a roof over your head, food on your table. You have been given all of the respects of a guest in someone else's territory, and you are throwing that back in our faces. If you want to leave, then leave. No one is stopping you. But to cast insult on your way out is to show exactly what this new nation consists of.
Why should I show you anything else, any respect, when you have not shown respect to any other seps in the nation? You have not bothered to do anything. You don't deserve the respect.
You're not at those septs, Miss Silvertongue.
I'm not talking to you anyways. I'm gonna call forth Mari Cabra, using ancestors.
Okay.
I got 2 successes. That's just enough.
Okay.
And it's gonna go to persuasion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Reaching out into the beyond is no easy feat, especially calling upon an individual you've never met, you've never seen, an individual that literally only exists in story. A legend, a martyr, and one truly rebellious badass bitch. But you have an advantage that others wouldn't have. a shared patron, a shared tribe, maybe even a shared lineage. So as you call out into the Umbra, into the great beyond, at first it's just echoing, seemingly unheard. But with the cracking and breaking of stone and the sounds of rattling and hissing, Gorgon brings forth Mari Cabra. Gorgon, who had all but abandoned this place. Gorgon, who senses your fury, your rebellion, your willingness to stand in front of what's left of this sad, pathetic nation, to potentially risk life and limb, because the insults you are casting would get most killed in a sept, let alone the sept of the king. And if anyone's going to enjoy that, it's Gorgon. So as you feel that strength wash over you, you feel yourself stand up taller than you've ever stood, more defiant than you've ever been. And anybody who's known the story of Jester Silvertongue or Malicious Jester would know that's been quite defiant at times. But now you are embodied by Mari Cabra. Not fully, not as strong as it could have been, but at least you can hear her presence almost as an echoing voice in your mind. You can feel her strength, albeit minimal, bolstering you. And for the first time, Jonas Albrecht's eye lifts to see you. Don't get to say that name here.
You never fail to astonish me, Albrecht.
A furrow crosses Jonas's forehead. What?
We fought the last great battle. You proved Zyjak's stupid prophecy was bullshit. She didn't slay the last guy in King, did she? But now you sit in this chair, not even a throne. You sit in this chair sad. You've let... What has happened to our nation? What has happened to our Garu?
He, in the most pathetic snarl possible, just kind of lashes his head as if he's trying to shake off what's happening. You can see a stunned look on Seraphine's face. She's a Galliard and she knows the stories. She knows the words of Mario Cabra. But Anastasia leans in. Don't listen, my king. These ones are trying to manipulate you, coerce you, rub in your face the loss you have sustained, the sacrifices you've had to make. Cast them out. Or better yet, allow Victor to dispose of them.
Oh, grow up, Albrecht. You're the leader here, not her.
Give me a manipulation and persuasion.
Since Gorgon is with me, do I get my favor?
Yes.
Okay. Can I use my rhetoric specialty?
Do you think this would qualify as rhetoric? It's the words of someone else.
It is, which rhetoric can be, but
Sure, why not?
all right. I can use my status as a keeper of the silver record too, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna spend a willpower.
I just keep looking at the king, kind of taking everything in at the moment.
7 successes.
Okay. As Anastasia tries to continue to whisper encouragement to the king to not listen, to cast you out, eventually a hand comes up, almost like bolts up off of the chair to stop her. Silence through. I would hear them. You can speak the words, Mari Capra. And those words cut me deeper than anything you could do, any blade, any claw, any fang.
She's with me now.
Impossible, she's dead.
See, that's the thing. I have this fun little ability I gained with points of the clave. With this, I can call upon our ancestors, our dead ancestors. And we are of the same tribe, she and I. So I called and she came. She's kind of pissed. I mean, she died in a battle and you let that victory go to waste.
It was supposed to be the last.
But when it turned out it wasn't, why did everybody just sit around and not try to continue? Like, why did everybody give up?
It's a war. We can't win it. Don't you see that? How many died in that battle, Mari?
Many. But why are their deaths going in vain? Their deaths mean nothing if we don't continue fighting.
Some more can die.
If we lose, they're going to die anyways, or worse. They're going to suffer more before they die.
They're already suffering.
If we could change that. If we could change the things that we failed at.
You see a lot of the anger drain out of his posture as he kind of slumps again.
First, you need to stop sulking, Albrecht. You've have seps who have lost faith due to your inaction. You have to get out there and show your face again, which means you need to take that tear. You're sick. You have a way to get better. You just have to accept it.
I'm broken.
You are.
I can't do it without you. Without Evan.
You have others. You have a grandson that you've ignored his entire life. You have Elias, who has stood beside you for decades. Even Samira, who you've named Mari, is willing to make a difference and try. You have people who are willing to try and stand beside you. And it doesn't mean you have to continue to wear the crown. Find someone worthy to take it and be their advisor.
He shamefully looks away from you. And Aspen, for the first time, he almost looks to you. But his eye seems vacant. It seems lost.
Has Elias brought the books?
Yes.
Okay, is he still within the chamber,
Yeah.
or did he just... Okay. So I'll turn to him, say thank you. And I'll look straight at the king. The nation needs something new. You're correct. What has been happening isn't working. And it's been like this for far too long. And what was old wasn't wrong, but it makes way for new. And we need new. And she'll flip the pages. There was a time when you were willing to give up your own life to make sure that this nation succeeded, to make sure that somebody could be there to lead, to be the person that the nation needed. You did that. That was you. And we need that now. With the nation split into different pieces, we need unification. But we need to see it in a different way because the world is not what it was before. Yes, the world is dying. The world has been dying. But we keep fighting because we have hope. And we need hope. And people need to know that their lives aren't just fodder, but that they matter. Mercy isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Rejection isn't skirting duty, it's honor. And fighting doesn't always have to be with tooth and claw. It has to be fighting for something we believe in. That's glory. She'll flip the page. I would like to use the gift, Command the Gathering, which is usually given by a spirit of something, loud and boisterous and big and powerful. So she thinks to Falcon for a moment and shakes her head, but then thinks to Star, the biggest, brightest thing she could possibly think of in this moment, as she continues to turn the pages.
Okay. Go ahead and make the roll and tell me how this takes shape.
I would like to keep going, though, if it's possible.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay. So Gaia's candor is so she turns the pages and she flips to Evan, and she looks back. You knew someone who wanted to heal what was broken, bring the old and the new together, to see something different, to see each other grow together instead of apart. That was Evan. Evan heals the past. It was in his name. We need to bring back the old and the new and bring them together and see that we're fighting for the same thing and that we all care, but we all care for each other as well. And in that moment, I would like to use the gift Ancestral Conviction. It is given by a great wolf spirit, but in thinking about Evan, I would like to use that gift.
Okay.
And then in the last of it, I would like to just look and take a few steps forward. Me and my sept, my pack, even just when it was, and she'll look towards Jester, just a couple of kids trying to figure it out. That's how it always starts, isn't it? She kind of smiles at him. We want to do something different, and we care, and we believe in the Guru, and we believe in Gaia, and we believe what needs to be done. We do believe in the fight, but we believe that in this fight, we all deserve something else, and we all need something else to push us through the fight. We're not just Guru, we're humans, we're spirits, we're wolves. We need something to believe in. And if that can't be you, I'm not saying it has to be. You've fought for so long, and it meant everything to the people around you. But if you can't do that anymore, that's okay. You could put somebody else in your place, and we could start a council of all the different tribes and bring them all together. But I know that's not in the near future. And maybe for now, if you can't do this, she'll look to Anastasia. You have a wonderful truth catcher here. Stoneward. Someone of Fenris that didn't leave. Someone of Wolf. Someone who cares. All of that can happen, but we need you to care.
Okay. Go ahead and make the roll.
Okay. I would like to add my ancestral conviction, which gives me my honor,
Mhm.
my command the gathering, which gives me my glory, and I would also like to use my lore sheet, new diplomacy, that gives me +3 to convincing people to join the new nation. If I could, I'd like to use beautiful, but I would actively not like to use my favor in this moment.
Okay. All of that is reasonable.
What rage did I start this conversation at? Because I used 2 rage.
4.
Okay. I would like to use a willpower, if that is all right.
Yeah.
That would be 11 with a crit.
As Jonas takes in your words, he remains eye contact with you. And in a blink, out of his one eye, a tear rolls down his cheek. He looks to you, Jester, and says, "Artie, I'm so sorry. I've wanted nothing more than to join you these past many decades because it should have been me. But unfortunately, you'll have to wait a little longer." He looks towards Seraphine. Pull back the curtains. And as he's looking to Anastasia, I'd like both of you to roll me a wits and awareness.
I got 2.
3.
Aspen, you hear the door to the chamber open, just a crack, and someone murmurs something to Victor Hale before he goes out the door somewhat urgently, the door closing behind him. Jonas looks towards Anastasia. You offered this to me once before. I'm now ready to receive it. She holds the staff in which a tear of Gaia is enshrined upon the top. He reaches over, almost pulling the staff out of her hands as she stands somewhat stunned. And with a strength it seemed like he didn't have, he breaks the staff, loosening the crystal. He brings the crystal close and looks to Jester once more. Artie, this is for you and for all of us. With the moon spilling in, the light washing and almost reflecting off of the crystal that he extends in front of his body, the crystal starts to glow. And a moment later, the back doors fly open. Jonas Albrecht! Standing in the doorway is a tall woman, possibly about 8 feet tall, dressed in what looks like the most crippling, terrifying bondage attire. I'm not done with you yet. Seraphine moves to move forward, but all of a sudden you hear the crack of a whip, and Seraphine's completely skinned body drops to the ground, dead. As Zizek, Messiah of the Worm, moves down the corridor, she drags behind her 2 bodies. She throws one forward that goes toppling and rolling. And it's the lupus form of Winter's Breath, bleeding and dead. The other she casts forward is that of the just recently departed Victor Hale. This war is far from over. And with a leap, she leaps forward, pulling out a blade and jamming it into the chest of Charles Albrecht, who almost immediately, with the shock of the blow, dies instantly, pinned to his chair.
Charles or Jonas?
Or sorry, Jonas Albrecht, sorry. Dies pinned to his chair, the crystal dropping out of his hand and rolling to the floor. And this is where we'll go to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the second half of tonight's story. Welcome back. As we return, we find ourselves at the cairn late in the evening. The stars shine down from a clear sky. The moon casts a pale glow through the trees, reflecting in pools off the very thick grass and moss. It's a quiet night, which is a rare and beautiful thing at the Sept of the Evening Star, because when are they truly quiet, even with that constant thrum in the back of everyone's minds about all of the problems taking place, all of the issues to be dealt with, even those that Isidoro Darris hasn't even heard about yet. You're seated, Isidoro, at the same table, but you're not facing the table, you're just facing outward. And even though there is a fire in the circle of stones that makes up the bonfire near the center of the camp, it has died down and is primarily consisting of a grayish smoke curling up to the sky. It's late in the evening, getting to the point now that a fire might no longer be necessary, as most have gone to bed. And by most, I mean Eliza. Because it's late even for her, who loves to be up late into the evening. But you have been stuck, to say the least, dwelling upon all of the bad that has happened. And not just to you. To one that you once considered ally, then enemy, now friend. One you respect. And you can't help but think about Aspen and Jester as well, who are up there in amidst all this, and Artie. What kind of chaos has happened? Are they in danger? Is there a threat? Or is it just over? And they'll be returning home soon, albeit changed, and through their own form of trauma. What kind of Charles will return? Is it the hardened one? The one that you worked so hard for so many years to try and break through to? The one that shielded himself? Or something different? Will he be like his grandfather? Broken and lost? His spark put out? And then there's you, who's kind of balancing on a knife's edge, falling to the anger that has consumed you, the rage over all of these losses, that bitterness growing within you. And it's not just losses in battle, it's losses in being useful, doing what you're supposed to do best. And even the things you're not, but you thought you were once good at. Investigating. Noticing. Glyphs are your forte, and yet you've missed a few in your time here. Maybe Entwined Smiles with Claws has been focusing more on the smiling and not enough on anything else. So as you sit there, the first moon since you've lost your wolf glowing up above, what would Izzie like to do?
Most of the wounds have, at this point, been reduced to welts, especially after Jason provided that mother's touch still. He does feel the phantom pain roll up the side of an arm and across his face as his eyes water at the fading gray smoke. And he thinks back, taking the steps through his life, starting with his family back in Buffalo, how before answering the call to Gaia, he was expected to excel because things weren't going great at home with finances and his dad getting sick. And he failed at that, had his first change, killed 2 classmates. Then when he was inducted into the nation, before and during the Wicked Leaves pack, his first pack, he had a major failure in that he wasn't Alrune enough. And he failed at that up until he realized that the only way to make people like him is to throw himself into everything. And because of that, because he was literally willing to lose 2 arms over it, he got a deed name, he got respect. Piercing Moonrise pack. He sees the faces of his former packmates, Charles included, but also those who stuck with him after Charles abandoned them. And he plays through all the failings that led them to eventually be rotted from within and eventually collapse. And he thinks again, if only I was stronger, better, if only I had done more, maybe I could have stopped it. And then most recently, with the riot and Jason, he should have known. Izzie should have known that he was not in the right of mind. And if he were better, if he were perhaps stronger, more resilient, he would have been able to handle it. But he was neither that, nor affectionate enough to seek help. And as the weight of what is happening in Vermont layers on top of that, it just creates a horrible cake of dread and failure, as for a moment, that mounting Hoglosk burgeoning to the surface, he thinks, for the first time and probably the longest time, that maybe if the people around me were better, I wouldn't have to try so hard. And the bitterness burns bright at that instinct before he bursts into tears, regretting even thinking it.
As your head drops and your hands come to almost shield, but also cradle your head as the tears fall. Almost as if a voice through static. As you still sit here without your wolf, it feels like it's just out of reach, but just enough to let the words through.
I can't help you if you won't let me.
Izzie's eyes widen as he rubs at his nose and eyes, trying to clear himself up, looking around, recognizing, I assume, the voice of Star.
We're here for you, Isidoro. But you can't see us or hear us. You remain closed off. If you remain in denial of what you are,
He looks up to the sky. What phase of the moon does it happen to be?
I'm going to say it actually is drawing close to, well, actually, let me see. It's a good question.
It would be very poetic right now if it was a full moon.
Okay, we are currently in a waxing gibbous.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Hey, the moon's the moon.
It is going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah. As he looks up, he feels the spark of rage flicker in his chest as he tries to realign himself to Gaia's fury. And with all of the anguish he has bottled up in the last couple days, he channels it upward, beckoning to Luna.
You howl at the moon, restoring one rage, regaining your wolf, becoming Guru once more. Almost as if it's a cloth being pulled off of, revealing a surprise beneath. Two shapes appear next to the burning embers of the fire. One of them, the shape of a young woman, glowing with ambient radiance. And the other is Unicorn, standing in all of their majesty, one on one side, one on the other.
That's better. You're looking more yourself again.
Isidoro smiles very kindly to Star, the newest face in his life, but also a pack spirit. And seeing the pack spirit actually care about him, compared to the previous two he's had to endure, does give him a little bit of flooring beneath his feet before he turns to look at Unicorn. And though he is not as spiritual as he should be, to share a common shortcoming with another Arun he knows, he does maybe instinctively know that Unicorn, or perhaps both Unicorn and Star, detected, sensed that depth of Izzie putting behind cooperation, the hope that things can get better if people work together, if only for a moment. And with that, he turns his eyes away from his tribe totem and goes, "Are you part of the punishment? Did Jason ask you to come?"
Look at me, Twine smiles with claws. Do not look away.
In the most pained craning of his neck, he really struggles against the muscles before meeting his eyes with Unicorn and beholding that beauty that has captivated him and so many other children of Gaia.
You act like you are broken and unable to be mended. In doing so, you are speaking falsehoods. In doing so, you are acting against the interest of your tribe and your tribe's patron. You begged for death to release you from this pain. That is not our way. We walk through the pain so that we may heal, we may learn, we may grow, we may help others who suffer such similar pain and loss, be it spirit, human, or Guru. When did you forget who you were? Who you are? Who you're going to be?
When I failed Jason and I killed that human, I don't know even what I was thinking. I felt pain and I wanted it to stop, and I was not as a child a unicorn should be. Rage did what it did.
You were not as a child a unicorn should be. But you were still Guru. And you just so happened to fall into one of the traps of being a Guru. The part of you that is wolf, the part of you that is feral, the part of you that represents Gaia's fury. That is not failure entwines smiles with claws. That is just part of being what you are. Does it always work out for the best? Of course not. Few things do always work out for the best. But you have two choices. You can let it damn you, have your fight end here, or you can let it strengthen you, like fire to iron. You can learn from it, grow from it. You can recognize when you are losing control of who and what you are and what you value. The man you killed was human, yes. But he was not innocent. No one is innocent, not truly. We are all flawed beings. Did he deserve what happened to him? Not necessarily. But when you stand close to the fire, there's always a chance you could get burned. He stood too close to the fire.
If I had done my job, though, there wouldn't be a rune there. Maybe he wouldn't have been acting that way. Was it even a he? I don't remember. It's just mess at
What
the
is
end.
your job, Isidoro Daris?
Izzie has the stock standard answer latched in his brain. To defend Gaia?
Yes. And what was your intention going into that battle?
To make them stop hurting people.
And Gaia is in all living things. But Gaia does not always get along with itself. Whether it be bickering spirits or warring humans. In defending one, you destroyed another. Thus is the way of war. While it is not our preference, It is not something we turn fully away from.
No, your shadow makes that quite clear. Izzie feels a bit more fortified. The fact that he killed someone is still very bad, but given the nature of the riot and all that, he feels a bit better about the action. However, what he does not feel better about in this moment is failing Jason, as he looks from Unicorn over to Star as the two share a pack patron. His pack patrons are supposed to keep an eye on each of the members. Do you know if Jason's doing okay? Because I tried to give him an out, because I've been there for leadership, and if you get a reputation, it sticks pretty hard. And while I wasn't asking him to kill me, I was asking him to hurt me. And I just don't want to hurt him. I don't. And I did, and I don't know how to fix that. So can you, oh spirit, give me any insight? I don't. And with that, he goes quiet.
Star just smiles as she stares at you as you speak, and after a moment says,
You need to have a lot more faith in your packmate. Jason is a survivor, and he has survived circumstances far worse than this. And any leader that expects perfection from their followers is one that won't be leader for long. They take a moment like this to refine their method of leadership. They take these falls and they stand up again. I'm glad that you have empathy for your packmate, and you should also have faith. He did what he thought was right. And even at the time, he did what he thought was right. And he knows it. And he knows that it went wrong. This is your opportunity, Isadora. To make a change. To focus. To grow. And to make the most of your next opportunity, and there will be a next opportunity. Isadora, you are unbalanced. Every Daru is made up of two sides. While one would say they're made up of three separate parts, in reality, they are a scale. One side leading to fury, the other side leading to sadness.
I've been in the sadness part. I don't want to go back to that.
No. Nor should you go into the fury.
But if I don't do anything, then Jason would have really failed. He would have been without support.
You said you should do nothing. There are other things you can do. And if you can't do them, you'll learn how. You
Izzie.
need to have more faith in yourself, as well as your packmates. You are not some broken thing. Hardened, yes. But broken? Far from it. It takes a great deal more to break the Guru. But you are ready it. Isidoro, I can't take your pain away. One, because I believe you need it. You need to turn it into resolve, into drive, into action. You need to learn from it. But what I can do...
And she kind of dances her way over, her feet gliding through the grass. And she steps up on her tippy toes because even being a spirit, she is shorter than you. And reaches up and places her hands on your cheeks. And then with more power you thought possible, yanks you down to her level so that you're almost like bent over, staring her in the eye.
Jason just asked me to kneel.
I'm not Jason.
I could see that.
Can't take your pain away. But I can make sure you carry it more effectively.
And with that, she leans in and gives you a kiss right on the tip of your nose. And you feel a wave wash over you. How many points of Hirano do you have?
1.
The scales are now balanced at 3 and 3.
Tell me you promise to be better. I mean it when you say it, because unicorns don't lie.
He glances over past Star as best he can, hunched over to look Unicorn in the eye, nods before returning his gaze to Star and goes, as a Garu, as an Arun, as a child of Gaia, and as Izzie. You're gonna have to stop me from doing some major healing if you're gonna get rid of me.
But I have a task for you.
Anything.
There is a great deal of pain coming. A great deal of anguish and darkness. I need you to be a light in that darkness. And when needed, an inferno. Because many others will struggle to do so, with all that they have lost and are going to lose. This... We can't have this.
No, we can't. No, we cannot. I promise.
So I'm going to do you one more favor. But know that this is temporary, and should you fall again, there's nothing I can do.
This time, she reaches out a finger and boops you on the nose.
This doesn't just go away. Someone else takes it for you. To make sure it's not wasted.
Isidoro, you are now down to 2 Hirano and 2 Hoglusk.
Ooh.
Should you fall again, they will return. They are not gone. They are just elsewhere.
On loan.
Correct.
Don't worry. Be happy. Because there's so much to be happy about, even amidst all this sadness. One man died, yes. But because you have a packman, cares about you, looks after you, and protects you. It wasn't 20. So instead of being sad for yourself, be grateful for him.
Yeah. Thank you, Star.
Star continues to speak, but a strange occurrence happens. She starts flickering. And as you look, you see that the smoke that was gray that was drifting up from the fire has turned black. And as it rolls up to the sky, it spreads out, blocking out the stars, cutting off Star's access to you, at least momentarily, as she disappears.
Izzie, in a panic, looks over to Unicorn.
The darkness is here.
And with that, we transition to our final scene of this evening's story. You stand in the antechamber as flames start to erupt all around you. The wall engulfs in fire, and it seems to come from the open doors which Zizek strode through. Chaos has broken out. Gru are running in all different directions. Samira is gone. Elias is gone. Seraphine is dead. As is Winter's Breath and Victor Hale. Anastasia has disappeared. And King Jonas Albrecht lies pinned to the chair with a long, wicked silver blade. Zizek, feral as ever, turns around and stares at the two of you. Malicious Jester! Bat sends his greetings. And you took something from him. She starts to raise the coiled whip as if to shoot it out in your direction. But Artie quickly shoves both of you towards the door, going, go, 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 we have to get out of here.
I am running, but I am making sure Artie is coming with us.
Artie appears to be going with you, yes.
Okay.
I stumble backwards, kind of still making eye contact with Jax, and under her breath, Aspen just go, "You will pay for this. We will kill you." And I would like to do Fangs of Judgment.
Okay.
And it sticks to her until she's killed or until I remove it.
Okay. Go ahead and make. Is there a roll that's associated with it?
Nope.
Okay. So almost like a GPS pin placed upon Zizak, you know her current location. Rushing out into the hallway of the 3rd floor, you can hear the sounds of fighting downstairs. You can see that one end of the hall is completely engulfed in flame. This fight, or escape, is going to take part in 3 stages. What you do in each stage is going to determine the outcome following the fight. So as you rush down the stairs, I need you to make dexterity and athletics rolls for me.
I'd like to shift into Kratos.
Okay. That'll be 2 rage checks.
Yeah, can I go Glabro?
Yeah.
Okay. I made my 2 rage checks.
Okay.
I know I'm -2 at this moment.
Yes.
Question, if I draw my blade, I don't think she's here alone, so if I draw my blade, do I lose the additional, like, do I also lose 2 dice? Is that a minor action or a free action?
I would say if you draw your blade, it is a free action. I don't see
Okay.
why it wouldn't be. It's a small, subtle movement.
Yeah, it's got the buttons that I just
Mm-hmm.
yank and pull it free, so.
Yeah. And I think you're still getting the 4 additional dice because it is a physical action. So it would just be strength and melee
Okay.
with the extra dice you get from being in Krynos. Now you are at -2 for this dexterity and athletics,
Right.
but it's actually just +2 since you went into Krynos.
I got 4 successes.
Okay. Aspen.
I got 1.
Okay. As you are rushing down the stairs, a burning beam drops from above, blocking the staircase. Jester, you're able to dive ahead of it, but Aspen, you were not quick enough to prevent it from blocking your egress. What do you wish to do?
I will recoil at the fire. Is Artie with me or is he with Jester?
He is on. Let's see. He's with Jester.
Okay. And from what I saw in the room, was there any other exits? Any other ways of getting out?
You know from your experience of Elias smuggling you out that there are hidden passageways, but right now you have no idea where they are. You would have to be guessing.
How big is the beam? Like,
It is a support beam for a ceiling.
okay.
And this is an old revolutionary era
Right.
support beam, so it's a lot thicker and not as pretty and round as most of them are.
Yeah.
And it
Is
is
there
on
any way-
fire.
Yeah, I know. I know I'm gonna probably take damage for this, but is there any way I could, like, push it enough for her to get underneath it or crawl through?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna attempt to do that.
Okay, give me a strength and athletics.
Do I get full Krynos 4 dice? Or is
I'm
it
going to
still
say you're
three?
still at the -2, just
Okay.
because this is still all happening really quickly.
You said strength and athletics, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, you could take an additional 2 die because Artie would assist you
All right.
as he goes into Glabro as well.
I'm gonna spend a willpower.
Okay.
I got 5 successes.
Okay. As you lift the beam, being in Krynos form, it is a manageable weight for you, but the burning makes it a little bit more problematic. So you and Artie both will take 1 aggravated damage as the burning burns you. The fire burns you. How better to say it? But you are able to lift the beam long enough for Aspen to kind of skirt underneath it to the other side before dropping it back onto the staircase. As you reach the 2nd floor, you have 3 choices. There is a staircase that continues down to the 1st floor, but you hear the sounds of fighting coming from both sides of the staircase, down the hallways. At one end, you see Stoneward fighting with one of the silver spears, holding back 2 snarling black-furred Krynos beasts. And then at the other end, Brother Varga. Here's the thing. You can choose to go down, but both of them will be dead. You can choose one together, and you'll be able to help them escape. Or you can attempt to split the group and choose both. However, the next round of individuals will be dead by the time you get there.
Okay. Before we make any decision, where is Charles?
Yeah, which way is Charles?
What's his health like? What's his willpower like? Tell me all of it.
His health is okay. He has taken some superficial damage. He is actively fighting, and he is out on the grounds.
Okay. Then I'll look over to Jester. I've got to help him, and she'll look over towards Brother.
We help Brother Varga then.
Okay. So as you go running down the hallway in Brother Varga's direction, you can see that he is easily being overwhelmed. This is not his strong suit. He is a theurge, and while he can fight, he is outnumbered. There are 2 other Black Spiral Dancers here attacking him. So, how do you want to help? Do you want to just get him and run? Do you want to try and fend off or defeat the Black Spiral Dancers? What would you like to do?
I'm gonna try to fend off the Black Spiral Dancers. Hopefully, while Aspen and Artie maybe help attend to Brother Varga.
Okay. Then I'm gonna need 2 checks, 1 from each of you. Jester, it's gonna be a fight check, so strength and melee, whatever the case may be. Aspen, you have to convince or force Brother Varga to go with you. This is his home. He is defending it, despite the very bad situation it is in currently. So you can either physically pull him and go, or you can say you could try and convince him.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna grab him by the shoulders and make him face away from the crazy things that are happening in front of him. And in her glabro form, so a little bit deeper, we have to go. There's no way any of us survive this if we stay and fight. There's no way.
Okay. I'm going to ask for a charisma and leadership roll.
I'm going to spend a willpower.
Huh? Now
4.
okay, 4. That's enough. He agrees to go with you. and starts moving down the hallway as Jester steps in front of you both with her clave at the ready. Jester, there are 2 of them. So you can either split your pool and attack both, or you can attack one and attempt to dodge the other.
I will attack one and attempt to dodge the other.
Okay, then tell me what your roll for your attack is, and then give me a dexterity and athletics -1. And you do have your full pool at this point because you have gone into a new round.
My attack was 7 successes with a crit.
Okay.
Then and really it's like an attack in, and then once she gets Varga out, I'm dodging back so that we could run.
Okay.
That is 6 with a crit.
Okay, so you are able to skirt the one dancer after slashing with your silver clave across the other, causing them to scream out, howl out in pain and anguish. You have stopped one of them. The other one is going to pursue, and that will have to be resolved at some point. But for now, they are backed off. As the 4 of you at this point turn and start rushing towards the staircase, you see just at the last moment as Stoneward gets raked down, completely ripped open and spilling to the ground. As you go down the staircase, rushing down to the next floor, the fire emanating all around you, screams and growls and howls coming from all directions. On the next floor, like 2 Valkyries standing back to back, Katarina and Ingrid. They are surrounded by black spiral dancers. You can either continue down the stairs, you can save one of them, or you can attempt to save both. But there will be a cost.
I'm gonna try to save Katarina.
I'm looking to Vargas at this moment, kind of waiting to see what Jester says, because I've not
You
really
haven't had the connection with either of them.
We'll look and be like, Katarina.
Okay.
Okay. So once again, you can either all gang up on the dancers that are fighting Katarina, thus providing them an opening, or you can try and distract and pull her away.
I'm gonna go into Krynos at this point with all the fire, and I'm going to try and help defend.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So then I need a strength and brawl from you, Aspen, at a -2 after your rage checks, of course, going into Krynos. And then Jester, I need strength and melee or whatever you choose to do. Aspen, what'd you get?
4.
4 successes. Okay. Jester, what did you get?
9 with a crit.
Okay. All right. So you have taken down one of the dancers, or at least incapacitated them long enough to move. Katarina is not giving up the fight. How would you try and convince her or force her to go?
There's no winning this.
There is. You could fight all the Black Spiral dancers and get both of them, but you will be sacrificing whoever's on the next floor.
Yeah. We need to go. There's more coming because there's one still behind me, right?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
slow. It's going to catch up basically after you escape the building.
Yeah. Well, I know it's still coming, so
Yeah.
it would, and probably the ones with Stoneward are probably also coming after us. So I think it'd be more like, we need to go. There is more coming.
Okay. Give me a charisma and persuasion. The difficulty is going to be high because it is very unlikely they would leave Ingrid behind.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry, charisma and leadership. It's leadership roles for this entire endeavor.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yay. I guess that's just me at this point.
Aspen can also, pitch in. Or you can assist Aspen. You guys are a team.
I cannot assist. I have no leadership, so.
Ah,
Yeah, I will look. I'm still looking at Artie and Brother Varga, trying to make sure they're not getting
they're
attacked.
moving towards the stairs.
Okay. We have to go.
All right. Give me charisma and leadership.
Now these minus to social tests, it's only like other people, not Guru, right? Is that something? Okay.
Anyone that's
okay.
non-Guru. Yeah, like humans, Ghislaine, that kind of thing.
Five.
Okay. Katerina looks to you with sharp defiance and says, "No, I will not leave without her." But then Ingrid says, "It was never going to work. You have to go." And literally kicks Katerina in the chest, sending her tumbling down the stairs. And as you both follow behind, Ingrid stays at the top of the stairs, fighting and fighting and fighting until they grab her and pull her into the fray. And you hear that disgusting tearing noise of flesh being ripped apart. Katerina lets out a blood-curdling scream and attempts to go for the stairs, but seeing you all coming down, is stopped and corralled down the stairs. This is the final round. Only one can be saved because you have saved one on every stair up until now. On one side, Mari Albrecht. On the other, Elias. Having come out a secret passageway, having escaped the antechamber, on their way out of the building, there were spirals waiting, and they have got them trapped in the hallway before the lobby. Or the foyer, I suppose, to the front doors.
Gonna just pause, frozen in that moment for 2 seconds. Looks to Jester, just pleadingly. He can't defend himself.
Because I am looking at Mari in this moment. Like, I am going after the child to try to save the child.
I will say Mari is in Krynos and is fighting, because she is a Guru. Not a large Krynos Guru, because she's still young, but she has been around long enough to at least know her forms. And obviously the least favorable option, you could just run and leave them to their fates.
Yeah, that's obviously not going to happen.
Obviously. So what do you do?
I'll look to Aspen. Fine.
Elias won't take much work to convince because he is out of his element. He's holding one of those silver-tipped spears trying to poke at the dancers, but they are making quick work of it, just knocking the spear aside, advancing on him.
We're going after Elias.
Okay. So, you can both fight, which will buy him enough room for him to run. So both roll me attack rolls. Brother Varga, Katarina, they're assisting as well. So you can actually add dice to your pools, assuming that they are fighting beside you. Artie is just grabbing Elias and pulling him out.
How many dice? Just one?
2 dice apiece. You can each gain 2 additional dice, because...
I know you set these rules, okay? But is there any way that I could roll something to convince the others to hold back on Mari while we go get Elias? Because now
Yeah,
there's more
is
of
that
us. It's
possible?
not just the 2 of us anymore.
Yes, but that could potentially negatively affect what comes next.
Okay, above table. Is that something we want to risk, Nori?
This is the final round. You get to choose, but there is still another round.
Yeah. I think so. I think it would make more sense too when there's more of us to try to fight off for both of them.
Okay. So, if you are going to enlist the help of the others to try and save both of them, you will not get the +2 bonus to your die. You are just fighting. You're basically each taking 1 and attacking.
Gonna spend another willpower. That's 7 for me.
Okay.
Eight with a crit.
Okay. It was a tough choice, but through your efforts, you were able to successfully save both Mari and Elias. But I said there would be consequences for taking and saving 2. As you rush out the front doors of the estate, you see Charles and Iron Oath fighting side by side. They have cleared a path for you to escape and are holding many, many dancers at bay, possibly more than you could even imagine. There are several down and dead to the side. They are both in their Krynos forms as they fight. And as you rush out, Iron Oath looks and growls to Charles, "Go!" As you rush past and Charles takes up the rear, you hear what is likely going to be the most horrifying sound you will ever hear in your existence as a guru. You hear the snap of the whip. And you see Charles's hide rip completely off of him as he goes tumbling to the ground. And Zizek stands several feet behind him, holding the whip, which now dangles gray and silver fur bloodied on it. Jester, I need you to make a composure and resolve check.
Composure and resolve or willpower?
Oh, willpower. Yeah, unspent willpower for sure.
I have 3 dice.
Okay.
I had to mark down what the first round where I hadn't actually heard anything in Chronos.
Mhm.
So yeah, I had to spend a willpower there. Oh, good. 1 success.
Jester frenzies and turns to go after Zizek and the army of Black Spiral Dancers that remain behind. You do have the forces to stop her, restrain her, and take her away. There is enough Guru present that you have saved so far that they could probably force her to go. Aspen, it's your call, because Jester cannot make a call in this moment.
Where's Charles's body?
Probably a good 6 feet behind you.
Is there a way to grab it? Or is it too close to Zizek?
No, I think you could grab it.
We grab that and we grab Jester and we go.
Okay. Jester, I would say you could try and fight back, but there's too many of them at this point. Any rolls would be nullified by the overwhelming force of all of them. Grabbing on to Charles's body. Aspen, you have to take the body because the others are too busy restraining the frenzying Jester. You run. And as you run, you see the house behind you burn and start to collapse. You see the tree that was the throne of the last Gaian king burn. And you hear the victorious howls of the Black Spiral Dancers, for they have officially destroyed the Guru Nation once and for all. As you rush off, hurriedly moving, Jester flailing against them, wanting to go after them, snapping at them. Eventually, Varga stings, and Jester falls asleep, limp in the arms of those grabbing her and taking her. Just as you're about to escape the property, out of the woods comes Anastasia, crawling, blood pouring from her orifices. Help me, please.
What are her injuries look like?
She looks like she has been fucked up. There's burns, there's obvious wounds that aren't healing very easily, likely done by Silver and she looks like she's lost her wolf. She will die if you do nothing.
I stand there with Charles's body, looking down at her. Mercy isn't weakness, and I'll cast, or I'll do the Mother's Touch on her.
Difficulty is 0, so anything you get will be either aggravated or superficial.
Three.
It's enough.
Okay.
She's able to get to her feet. You can see that she's been crying. I did all this to prevent it. I did all this to prevent it, and I couldn't.
Shut up. Go.
As you rush off, you successfully escape. You can hear the howls and pounding footfalls of Guru behind you, but eventually they give up. You're not the target. You never were. This was a statement to be made. To quote the great Chester Bennington, you tried so hard, you got so far, but in the end, didn't even matter. This is where our story comes to a close. But not without 2 final scenes. Our first final scene is in the near future, at the cairn of the Sept of the Evening Star. The body of Charles has been laid out. He is dead. But as he is laid in front of the boulder that is Turtle, he gasps. In our second scene, we are back at the manor. The fire has died down, and now it's just black smoke peeling up into the sky. The large and looming form of Zizek stares at the tree, now crumbling to ash, as fire licks at the sides. She then balls up a fist and punches into the seat of the chair. And as she pulls her hand out, in it is a blackened silver crown. She then lifts it up and places it upon her head. In the distance, we hear a falcon's cry, and we look up to see the bird on fire, dive bombing towards the surface. This is where our story and our season comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. Go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media you see listed down below. Join our community by following the Discord link. And why not sponsor us by hitting up that Ko-fi, because we've got a very special extra coming to Ko-fi subscribers, which is a Q&A from our cast about the Vermont angle, because there is a lot to still be uncovered about the Vermont angle that was never discussed. So that's going to be exclusive to Ko-fi members as well as the Rosebud Thorns for this very session. So go check that out. It's only $5 a month, people. Come on, you can do $5 a month. And if you can't, get a friend to do it and password share or whatever. It's fine. I don't care. Go ahead. I'm not going to complain. But anyway, for these amazing players on Kent, we've got 2 more shows before this entire season as the Tampaverse comes to a close. So tune into Hellhounds on Friday and tune into Red Tide Rising on Sunday, because we are going to be off for 2 weeks after that. And when we come back, we'll be back with the fallout of the Vermont angle as the pack returns to Tampa. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.